Hello, you wonderful lot. My guest on this week's Benjy's Cafe podcast is the actor Charles Brunton. Most recently, Charles played Casper in the UK tour of 101 Dalmatians the musical, and the rest of his CV is longer than my 36-inch inside leg. Here are some highlights. Miss Trunchbull in the RSC's Matilda, London and New York, originating the lead role of Emelius Browne in the world premiere of Disney's Bedknobs and Broomsticks, Dr. Gangle in Love Never Dies at the Adelphi Theatre London, and Roger de Brie in Mel Brooks's The Producers at Manchester Royal Exchange. On screen, Charles can be seen as the head judge on Brillianti Malta, and as Mark in the award-winning feature film A Call to Spy. Phew, yep, he's good. Charles takes us through his transfer from London's West End to Broadway with Matilda and the joy and challenges of creating leading roles on stage. Happiness, positivity and love of his allotment, and he also shares the rewards of discovering and mentoring new talent in his role as judge on Brillianti Malta.
So basically, I'm kind of like Simon Cowell in Malta. A nice one, I promise you. So I have to say, the programme over there is basically like a musical theatre version of X Factor. There's no bullying, there's no nastiness, and it's all about kind of inspiring these kids. They leave the stage feeling like they've achieved something that day. They've got some extra goal to get to or something like that, so that they don't feel downhearted about it.
You can't help but love him. Welcome to Benjy's Cafe podcast, Charles Brunton. Hi, Charles. How are you?
Thanks, really good. How did you get all of that?
Oh, I know what everybody's up to. How's your morning been? What's a good start to the day for you?
Oh, an espresso, definitely. The first thing in the morning. Do you know, for years, I was all about, these Nespresso machine things. I never got one because I thought, it's never hot enough. Oh, it's changed my life. Absolutely changed my life. I need that first thing, otherwise I just don't function.
It's just that little injection for a great day ahead, isn't it?
Yeah, just to get started. Also, with this machine, I always find that I don't need to have a coffee when I get up, a coffee on the train, a coffee in London, a coffee when you start rehearsals, a coffee at the end. Do you know what I mean? You just have the one and you're done.
Oh, well, you look so well. It's great to see you. Gosh, we worked together on Panto and Beauty and the Beast on tour. I think it was 2008, 2009. But
Yeah.
I just want to say, it was so lovely to work with you. One, you're so bloody good. But you are so professional and you really just loved being on stage. I just wondered, at what age, I know you went into the business quite early, but what age did you think, this is what I want to do, but also I'm going to give it my best shot and give everything 8 times a week? Because I swear, I've been on stage with you, Charles, and that's what you do, and it's so admirable.
Oh, Well, for me, it was when I was 3 years old. My sister was in a panto at what was the Mountbatten Theatre in Southampton. It's now a library at the top of the hill. And so I watched her it was Mother Goose, and she was just dancing in the background, doing all sorts of nonsense.
That's my whole career.
And I thought, I love this. There's something about this I love. My mum said apparently in the interval, I just sat and stared at the curtain. And I refused to move in the interval.
Oh, wow.
And so then at home, I would put on shows for the rest of my family to watch as a kid, and it used to do their heads in. Literally, they would be like, "Not another one." Ugh. So my mum said, "You know what? For his 5th birthday, I'm going to take him to tap lessons because he'll hate it. He'll absolutely hate it because it's too technical. He'll hate it. It'll drive it out of him." And guess what, Ducky? I loved it. And so the tap lessons stayed because I enjoyed it so much. And then when I was 8, they caved in. Both my parents said, right, we're going to have to do something about this. We're going to have to take him to do some acting or singing, or just a local drama group because he's doing our heads in. And so I went to this incredible woman who sadly died last year called Mrs. Holland. She has this Catterfield School of Speech and Drama. It's literally in her house. And she was phenomenal at teaching acting to kids. She was just wonderful. Oh. She got Andrew McBain to come in and do like a workshop with us all one day.
Yeah.
And this is how it all kind of started in a way. He said, I'm doing this musical called Nine in the Royal Festival Hall in London. And I'd quite like Charles to come and audition for it. And the auditions are going to be held at the Sylvia Young Theatre School. So when I was auditioning for this show, and of course I didn't really have a clue what I was doing, Jackie and Sylvia came in literally. Jackie's like Sylvia Young's assistant type person, her number 2. came into the room to just literally deliver teas and things to everyone on the audition panel, and they watched my audition. And then they grabbed my parents and said, "We'd like to offer them a place in a scholarship at the school." But my
Wow.
parents said, "No, no, they didn't want me to do it." So I was fuming, absolutely fuming. But then they
Gosh.
said, "You know what? We'll keep them on the agency, and
Yeah.
which is where auditions come up. We'll, if you can get into London, because I was living in Southampton, you can come in and do auditions, and we'll just act as your agent." And that's kind of how it all started as a kid for me. So I've been doing it for I'm far too long with the two.
And when looking back now, Charles, thinking about that decision your parents made, do you think that was the right decision for you at that stage of your life?
You never know. I never know because I think my parents thought it was like a bit of a phase
Yeah.
that I was kind of going through. um, but obviously, I've sort of stuck with it. So I think in hindsight, maybe yes, absolutely, because then I did the usual route of doing obviously the GCSEs, going to
Yeah.
to do my A levels first, and kind of getting some life experience and meeting people because that's how what you apply when you're creating characters or enacting with. You just basically reenact what you've done in real life with other people, I think, to make it believable. So in a kind of way, I think that was a good decision.
What I found, Charles, I did National Youth Theatre and drama at school. It just felt the right place for me. Like I love my sport as well into my football, cricket, but when I was within a group of like-minded children, I could just feel my confidence like swell. I just felt safe there. Would you say that was the same for you, Charles?
No, totally. And I think the thing well, as a group, when I was with Mrs. Holland, our thing was always about telling the story to an audience. It wasn't about, look, look at me, I'm stood on zero singing the song out front and stuff everyone else. It was all about, as a group, telling a story. And that's what I absolutely loved, getting an emotion over to an audience or a story over to an audience as a group. That's what I kind of love. And that's what I kind of hopefully stick with
Yeah.
throughout as I go on. Yeah.
What I love as well, what you just mentioned there, is that even at a younger age, you value the importance of being able to absorb characters in real life. Like each performance I've seen you do, it's packed full of character, and I think that's such a skill to have.
Oh, thanks. No, well, that's the thing about all these character roles is that they have to be believable, otherwise you completely switch off from them. So once you have in rehearsals found that overinflated ego character, overinflated ego, I'm talking about now, overinflated character, you then have to make it real again for the audience. Otherwise, they just switch off from what you're talking about because it's just too much. So you have to find the truth and realness in it to make it believable. Particularly like things like Miss Trunchbull, that was insane because it's such obviously physically demanding, huge kind of persona role that you have to find the truth and everywhere justify everything you're doing. So like the mindset for her is, even though she's obviously the baddie in the story, she's absolutely right. She's like that extreme narcissist who thinks she's absolutely right, but everyone else around her is the problem. And you have to genuinely put yourself in that mindset of believing that. So you genuinely believe that all these people around you are the bad problem. You're fine. And that you've got to defend yourself against them. And as soon as you get yourself into that mindset, the audience sees it the other way round and they kind of go with it, I think.
Matilda, my goodness, what a show. Was that something beautiful to be part of? A lot of your shows are kind of, you've done Nativity, Gordon Shakespeare in Nativity, 101 Dalmatians, all these shows which I think are such lovely introductions for children into the beautiful world of theatre. Is it something that is just so lovely knowing that, crikey, you're working with youngsters as, you worked yourself as a youngster, but just really impressing the beauty of theatre on younger audiences?
No, it's really, really lovely. I think apart from the Rocky Horror Show, I think everything's mostly got kids in it and small children.
Yeah.
Not very well.
Yeah.
So I seem to be a thing I keep falling into, that kind of bracket, and maybe it's because I started doing it as a kid. Maybe that's the sort of element I give off in the audition room. I don't know, but yeah, it is. Particularly Matilda, I was so lucky to do it back then because I was literally like the second cast to do it in London when it was going to Broadway, to Australia, to somewhere else. It was becoming this huge thing. So I was so lucky doing it at that time. Also, even though the cast before us won all the Olivier Awards, we were doing the show at the time that they won them. So it's like, yeah, we've won loads of Olivier's, even though it has nothing to do with us. I was very lucky to do it just at that time, but it was wonderful. And working with those kids, oh my goodness, they are incredible. They do like a massive boot camp. I think they rehearse for 3-4 months to get them ready for the show. And they have to do so many things like speak Russian, flip over a horse box. Do you know they have to do so many things, and the choreography is so precise and super sharp, and there's so much acting in Peter Darling and Ellen's style. They've got this whole sort of intention behind the movements. Everything has
Yeah.
got like a backstory. Every movement's got a backstory. So that these kids have got to be really switched on, and it is actually fascinating in a way to sit and watch these kids in the rehearsal room just develop and grow, and they're all absolutely incredible. And then also seeing it inspire kids as well, in the audience. There's loads of times I was doing like Matilda workshops in local dance schools and things, just around the country, different places.
Yeah.
And I'd show them a clip of a dance routine from the rehearsal room, and they're all there going, "Oh no, oh gosh, that's so we can never be like that." And I'm like, "No, of course it can. We're going to learn it now." And then we spend the next half an hour learning the routine, and it's just to see their confidence grow and stuff like that. It's fantastic. So I feel very lucky to have done these shows that do hopefully inspire kids.
I saw it at the Cambridge, and I was just blown away with the beauty of Tim Minchin's lyrics, the story, Dennis Kelly's book. And so I imagine getting a show like that, you must have been like, "Oh, this is a good one." You must have been so revved up for that.
I couldn't believe my luck. Seriously, the timing of it was perfect. I just
Yeah.
finished doing Love Never Dies. And what was I doing after that? Oh, yes, I was working in a call centre. It was awful. Absolutely horrendous. And this audition came. It was very bizarre. I had some friends that were in it perform. Our lovely Hayley, who was Miss Honey.
Yeah.
And I went to go and see her in it just to see the show. And it was just after I booked my ticket on the day, I got a phone call from my agent saying you've got a casting for Matilda. And that's odd. I've just literally bought a ticket to watch the show. And so I watched it that evening, and I thought, my God, this is incredible. I desperately want to do this. And I know how I would play these roles. I know how I feel like I've got a feeling of how I would have a go at it. And what then ensued was a month of round after round of nerve-wracking auditions. And I think when it got to my final, when I had obviously the big chief was there, Matthew was there, the director, and I literally I'm not religious at all really, and I think I dropped to my knees and prayed.
But that audition process, it's so all-consuming, isn't it? It's difficult to kind of keep ploughing on. You're getting called back and back and back, and as the excitement builds, But as that excitement builds, the stakes getting higher, as you say, Charles. It's so hard to kind of stay grounded within that because you can't help but think, "I bloody want this."
Yeah, and also at that time there was no cast recording that had been released, so I didn't know any of these songs. So they were sending the sheet music to prepare for 2 days' time, and I haven't got a clue. I went to my friend Rosie Asher's house, Clang. She went to play through, because she could play the piano, obviously, to play through the songs. And at one point, I had to lay down on the floor whilst I was having basically a panic attack, and she was fanning me with the sheet music whilst trying to learn to play it, because she didn't know the songs at all either. So I'm just on the floor having a panic attack, thinking, I'm in this time tomorrow and I don't know the audition material.
Oh gosh! Are there any sort of pointers you could give to maybe younger actors listening to the pod, where just little things where it's like, okay, I'm just going to anchor myself here?
Oh, well, the first thing I was going to try and remind yourself that after the first 10 seconds, you're not nervous anymore. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
If you think about an audition where you're nervous, 10 seconds in, you kind of just get on with it. So just think about those 10 seconds. 10 seconds in, that's the first, because then you'll be a little more calm. Do you know what? I had one of these communications people, what they call, when they do those courses and they go to businesses and tell people that are doing public speaking, give them a bit of confidence. So I was, this is when I was auditioning for Rocky Horror. I said, "Oh God, it's so bizarre because I've got this. I've got my final tomorrow, and I've got these two. I've got to do Eddie and Dr. Scott. They're quite concave or bold. They're a bit erotic. That's the wrong word. Erotic.
Well, they're pretty erotic. Charles, you're erotic. Stop the characters.
A bit erotic is what I was trying to say. She said, go to the toilets and stand balancing your feet on your toes. And just do that for 2 minutes. Just stand for 2 minutes, and then you kind of go, "Oh, I feel very much like I'm in control and I own the room." You walk into the room feeling like, "Yeah."
Hey, Charles, I'm going to try that tonight before dinner. Rich be like,
Do it.
Ben, what the hell are you doing?
So
that obviously really helped. You just think, right, okay, let's go for it.
I don't know the science behind it, but there's a little tip. No, I've no clue how it works. It could be complete nonsense, but it seems to work for me.
I knew you were in Matilda in London, then suddenly you're in New York. I'm like, what? Like, how did that happen? How did you end up playing Trunch on Broadway? Like, my goodness, hello.
Well, it was my last week of doing shows in London, and I was, as you know, the people that are listening that I don't know how to phrase this, like doing 8 shows a week. It's wonderful. You're doing the thing that you love, but
Yeah,
my God, it's like doing the Olympics. So when you get to the end of a contract, you are broken, aren't you? You've got the
yeah,
kind of thing where, oh, I can't wait for it to end now, just because, even though we do love it,
yeah.
you do feel like, oh, I need my body to rest. So it was a final week of shows in London, and I felt completely broken. And we were staying at a friend's house that night. It was me and Adam were staying at our friend's house. And I was literally, all my joints, everything felt, oh my God, I feel broken. I think I'm doing Trunchbull again tomorrow. And I'm absolutely knackered. And so I went to bed, woke up knowing I've got 2 shows that day and thinking, oh my God, I've got 2 shows today. And I don't feel like I could even stand up. I'm so tired. And my phone rang, it was my agent, and I thought, oh, jog on, wait, you can wait. You can wait. I had a shower, came out the shower, there was 26 missed calls from my agent on the phone.
Oh my
So I
God.
answer it, it's like, hi, I think, oh God, what have I done? What have I done now to annoy someone?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, my phone's here. So they're literally reenacting it. All like this. Oh, hello, Charles. It's Rob here, Rob Kelly here. Just wanted to just check. I've had a phone call from the producers of Matilda on Broadway, and they wanted, and then my phone just went, and I kind of missed the rest of the conversation. I said, well, what was? They said they just wanted to check. Were you potentially available, and were you interested in doing the show on Broadway? I was like, yes, yes. And then he said, well, they don't know if they're going to go ahead with it. This is obviously in New York time, so they're all asleep. I just let them know when they wake up, and they're going to decide whether or not they're going to take you over there. So he said, so good luck with your 2 shows today, but don't tell anyone. It's a big secret.
Oh my goodness.
And then went to the theatre in London, and as I'm walking in, I'm like, no, I've made this up. This is ridiculous. This is a joke or something.
Yeah, like
Last
did
week,
did, did that call happen?
yeah,
Yeah.
and I was like, that's a nap. They'd be ridiculous. They'd be ridiculous. Stop. And so I ran to the toilet. So I was like, hi, Rob. She said, yeah, you're right, Charles. Yeah, I'm just checking. Did we have a phone call earlier today? And he's just started, yes, we did. And we just waited to just sit down, take a couple of deep breaths. We just wait. We don't know if it's going to happen yet. We're going to wait and go ahead. So then, so then we get to doing the matinee, and everyone's looking at. I'm trying to be all, yeah, cool,
Yeah,
chill.
yeah.
Everyone's like, Charles, are you okay? And I'm like, oh, yeah, it's because of my last week. I'm just really emotional. I must be walking around the building like this. And in the end, I think it was the interview. This guy, lovely guy, Mark Goldthorpe, who was in my dressing room.
Oh, Mark, yeah,
Mark,
lovely chap.
so we're in
Yeah.
this dressing room together, and I said, I've got to tell you something because I can't cope. Shut the door. And I said, I told him about that. I'm waiting for this phone call about Broadway. Went, oh my God, this is amazing. I said, yeah, but I don't know if it's actually happening yet. I'm just waiting for my
Yeah.
agent to ring to tell me whether or not I'm going or not. So then Act 2 happens, and in Act 2, there's a bit where I run front of house and I come running down the aisles as a Russian. So I come running down the aisle, and just before I go through the door, Mark runs up to me and goes, when your agent calls, does it say private number? I went, yeah. Oh, you've got 3 missed calls. I was like, oh my God!
Oh no.
And of course, I also told my friend Lara Denning about this, of which, again, I had to collapse on the floor, have a panic attack,
Yeah.
hand me down, this about this, so she knew. So then I then, as soon as the bows happened, I ran up, like, what's happening? He says, you're going abroad.
Oh, did you find any differences in working methods in the process there, the rehearsal process? And I imagine they must have been so welcoming. You know, hello,
Obviously,
a guy from the West End cast. Like, it must have been actually such a special period for you.
Yeah, they're all wonderful. Literally, they have, like, in London, we rehearse all together, obviously, and we do this massive warm-up session with the kids and everything together. So it's very much of a group thing. Over there, I have to say, it's kind of separate. They all just come in very differently, and they've got these super swings over there, which are insane. So they don't cover injury or illness, just holiday. And like one guy would be in Matilda and Jersey Boys and Wicked, and they just are booked in for the holidays. It's insane. You're kind of, like, we've always joked around like how musicians get decked out. It's just a random person playing an instrument there. We're like, oh, what funny would it be if that happens on stage, just running past and it's some person you've never even met. Well, that's what happens.
Oh my! I knew there was a way that I could play Cosette, Mr. Mistopheles, and the Phantom.
All at the same time.
But what a responsibility.
I believe they get paid an absolute fortune, but they do like 3 shows, so it's crackers.
And audience-wise, did you sense that? Did you have to play the part differently? Were there any nuances you had to add or take away from Trunch? And also audience reaction, did you sense a different kind of vibe in New York audiences?
They go nuts. Well, this is the thing, the show was such a hit in London and there was such a buzz about it that every show really was, they go crackers for it in London. And normally in London they would either sit back, wouldn't they? The audience really reflects how good the show is. While on Broadway they just go crackers at everything. So I have to say, it was kind of like they go crackers in London. I went over, they go crackers in New York as well for it. So, and just kind of subtle differences. But I have to say, it did feel very much the same, really. A couple of script changes. They changed some references that we have, British references. They changed to some American ones.
What a career and life high, I imagine. Right. In contrast to that, you mentioned, working the call centre between jobs, and the reality of an acting career is, there are tough periods, aren't there, Charles? You've got to stay positive, motivated. You've got to have a real passion and a love for what you do. And you have that in spades and bucket loads. But
it's wonderful having a quiet period because you get to live your real life. You get to really meet, and, like at the moment, I've just finished Dalmatians. So last year was a bit manic for me. I had the Malta TV show, and it was day to day. I flew back, put my stuff in the washing machine, then I went up to Edinburgh to direct Gypsy for 4 weeks. I directed the show up there. And then I finished that to fly back down, put my stuff in the washing machine and start rehearsals. Then I got married. Day off to get married. That was nice. And then since then I've been on tour. So I haven't had any time at home, really. So since Dalmatians, I've just kind of taken a back seat for it and, just been living my life and hitting the gym loads and doing F45, getting a personal trainer in. I've got an allotment, which I'm loving.
Oh.
But this is the wonderful time because you get to live your life and just experience meeting different people.
But also the connections of meeting people, and you've got the peace and quiet of your allotment. I absolutely love that. We had the Good Life gardener Adrian Sellers on Series 1, and he was saying the importance of being outside, how good that is for your mental health. I imagine that's wonderful, but also you do have the time. You're not away on tour all the time or busy all the time, just to meet new people, make connections. I think that's great as well.
There was in lockdown, there was this time when they was going to stop the self-employed grant thing. And I just thought, well, I need to be a bit more proactive. What can I do now, apart from teaching online and stuff, which I didn't really enjoy? I prefer doing it in the room, person to person.
Yeah.
What can I do now? And I saw everyone who was an actor seemed to be working at Sainsbury's and loving it. And so I thought, well, I'm going to do that. So I got a job at Sainsbury's round the corner from here literally for 4 weeks. So it was really funny. All the people working, it's just a tiny little Sainsbury's local.
Oh.
In Peacehaven, and all the staff there were wonderful. They were such extreme personalities. I mean, it's literally like there are so many you can nick them and put them on the stage. They were so wonderful to like socialise with and chat to. And there was one day where, now bearing in mind, I had to wear this little camera thing because I was new there. This camera that films people around my neck. That's crucial to this. I watched someone do the lottery machine. How you issue a ticket.
Yeah.
And so I just, did it. When someone queued up, I just did it for them. And someone said, how do you know how to do that? I went, I just copied it. And they were like, oh, you would only know how to do that if you were from head office or something like that. And I went, no, I'm not from head office. I've just watched people do it 2 or 3 times. I just copied it. I went, oh, that's interesting. But your code shouldn't allow you to do, like a barcode shouldn't allow me to do it because you could have passed a test or something. And so this thing, because I had this camera around, everyone thought there was this little jokey rumour going around that I was a spy from head office. So then one day, we all get called into the room. This is like 2 weeks into me being there. And they said, well, before you go on the floor today, you've got to watch this video from head office about data protection. And as it started, it's about a seagull walking around head office. It's a guy in a seagull costume looking at people's data over the shoulder, and they talk about data. And I completely forgot that 10 years ago, hi, I'm Charles from head office at Sainsbury's, and I'm going to talk to you today at data protection. And I just thought, oh my God. they all thought I was officially from head office. And then what made it even more quick, the following day, I found out I got cast in a commercial. It was filming in Poland. And because of the lockdown restrictions, it meant I would have to be there for like 2 or 3 weeks because of the lockdown system or something.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
then had to like literally text the manager, go, sorry, I can't come in today. I've been cast in a commercial, and so obviously I won't be able to return. I'll send an official handing in my notice because I could do. So I just suddenly left. So right now, they're all there thinking that's that guy.
I think us creatives, we're resilient buggers, and you know what? It's like, okay, I can do this, and we really think on our feet, don't we? A lot of the time.
Well, that's the audition because you have to be a chameleon, don't you? So
Yeah,
like
yeah.
your audition phones, and you're up for a World War II thriller, and then then you're up for like the Tweenies live, and then you're up for Rocky Horror, then you're up for an opera. Do you know what I mean? You have to keep adapting, I think. So that's why I think when it got down to stuff like that, we just adapt, don't you? And I
Yeah.
just love meeting the new people. It was so much fun, it's so wonderful. And the general public as well. I actually spoke to them.
It's like, oh, you give everything a go. My goodness, you're so versatile. I want to just really ask you, what was it like being part? You've been a lot of original casts.
Ah,
Love Never Dies, Bedknobs and Broomsticks, 101 Dalmatians on tour. Is that a joyous process? And like you bring so much to your characters that you've played, Charles. I just wondered, do the directors really embrace that, or often do they have to rein you in a little bit? How much kind of leeway do you have when you're creating a part?
I'm sure the director would say it depends if I listen or not. So, Bedknobs and Broomsticks was incredible. I couldn't believe my luck
Yeah.
to originate opposite Lovely Diane,
Oh,
one of the two leads on a brand new Disney show that was huge. It was with all these. The creative team was so illusion heavy as well, and storytelling, and the writing was incredible. It literally all these new songs that were in it just literally sounded like they were from the film previous day. But also I don't want to give anything away in case someone hasn't seen it, but the ending is different to the film. It's quite controversial, but it's brilliant and it's heartbreaking and it's so
oh,
wonderful. I've never been in a show where the audience just openly wept with sadness at the end.
oh,
It's an upbeat show, but it was. I've never been about something. Well, literally, there's a moment near the end where the gasps of people going, and then just seeing people physically crying and people shouting. It was just incredible, and I just love that. But I mean, God, the rehearsal period was so stressful. I have to say, because it was obviously a brand new show. You're trying things out, and I'm learning. Not only illusions, the illusions in the show were insane. It's the same team who did the Harry Potter and the Stranger Things play. The illusions were insane, but you're running around the rehearsal room with bits of cardboard and bits of string, and you think, how is this going to work? And then it does. And then I had to learn because I was Emelius, the failed street magician. I
yeah.
had to learn loads of street magician magic stuff that all goes wrong in the show, and then it goes right in Act Two. Oh my God, it doesn't come to me naturally at all. It does not come to me naturally at all, that skill. It is such an art. And Chris Fisher, yes, he literally must have been pulling his hair out. I mean, the linking rings is the most impossible trick. I think make it look like the rings melt together.
Charles, I thought that was a nightclub in Grimsby I've been to, the
Linking
Linking
ring.
Rings.
And it was so funny because obviously we're learning new skills. So the only thing that's so hard about doing an original piece of theatre or anything is that at some point in the rehearsal process, it's always just before you open, you can't see the wood through the trees.
Yeah.
And it's like you need this amazing creative team that created the show to kind of basically back off for 5 minutes to let me think about it to come back into it. So I feel like when we first opened, we still were like still exploring it and still understanding how it all worked. For me, it was in, I'm going to say January, which is actually a good 4 months into the tour. Suddenly, I mean, I had a moment with the resident director. Oh my God, the most amazing resident director I've ever worked. Rebecca Louie, she was incredible. At Rebecca Louie, she's literally, praise, she's the best resident
Yeah.
I've ever worked with. She's so inspiring. She sat me down on the sofa before the show at the Mayflower and said, Charles, have you thought about this tiny little point? And I went, oh, that's interesting. And I played it for the whole, and it completely changed the way I thought and felt and was about Emelius. And I found Emelius now. It was literally 4 months in. I finally found Emelius. And it did reflect well
Oh,
from the January to the end of the run, which was in May that year. The reviews, the responses, the reactions were so much more like woomph about it. And that's thanks to that resident director. Not thanks to me, it's thanks to the resident director, is my point. But you when you're doing a new piece, sometimes it's like 4 months in, you suddenly go, oh my God, I didn't think
Yeah.
about this certain element, and it changes the way you do the whole show. And so that's what's hard about a new piece of theatre. But it is really rewarding when it works. But if it doesn't,
Yeah.
you think, oh my God, what am I going to do now? Particularly if you're in a preview and the audience either they're not laughing, they're not clapping, they're not. You just know it's not, something's not right. It can be quite right. What do I do now? What do I do now? How do I adapt this slightly? And it could be something like you change your inflection, you change the focus. Something else on the stage around you could be pulling focus away from either you or the other person, so the line's not heard, or a certain emotion's not being felt by an audience because they feel a certain way, different way about the character that you never thought before. I don't know. So it is stressful, but really rewarding when it does work.
Yeah. What I love, Charles, is the running theme here, really, of just little nuggets that can make a character real. It's lovely what you said there about directors or resident directors can give you a little nugget that can reassure you as an actor that you're heading in the right direction.
Yeah, I think Rebecca, she said to me once, I think the goal, her purpose is obviously to make sure the show stays as is the main creative team
Yeah.
wants it, but it's to inspire them. And I think that's brilliant. Because it's these little nuggets of information makes you think change the way you think about something. And then you go, oh yes, and then you kind of live your character's life. Oh, much the same in real life. Say if you're not working and you're feeling all down and depressed about it, then think, oh, actually, no, this is my time to go and meet new people. And you change the way you think about real life. It's a bit like that, isn't it? Basically, I'm constantly in therapy. Yeah, you're right. That is all about getting these nuggets of information that help you think a different way about something, or if say the main director gives you a note you don't fully understand, or you think you're doing but isn't coming across, they then come up and give you something that makes you think a different way to make it happen. That
Going through all these audition processes, Charles, being in front of a judging panel. You're a judge on Brillianti Malta. Is it really rewarding? How does it feel when somebody's in front of you and you think, gosh, they've got it? Is that a real buzz for you?
Oh no, totally. Oh my God. So, so basically, I'm kind of like Simon Cowell in Malta. A nice one, I promise you. So I have to say the program over there is basically like a musical theatre version of X Factor. It's the same setup and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's nice. There's no bullying. There's no nastiness. The only beef that happens is between me and the other two judges. That's it. And we're all good friends. Do you know what I mean? So it's nothing really nasty going on, and it's all about kind of inspiring these kids. So there's lots of times if you watch it where, I mean, it looks like we give them like the minimal amount of notes to say yes or no or something, but we do, oh my God, we literally, the film crew are like this looking at their watches because we're giving them like 10 minutes of notes or something, because particularly when we're filming such long, we film from like 6 a.m. practice to 2 o'clock in the morning the next day. It's insane. And all these people are coming into the room, and again we make sure that everyone who's waited all day feels like they've had their moment, even if it's three people get a no, or they get certain, they don't get through, to feel like they've had their moment, or it's something that's upbeat. So they leave the stage feeling like they've achieved something that day, not like, oh no, I've got 3 no's and I'm out.
Yeah.
You feel like they've got they've got some extra goal to get to or something like that, so that don't feel downhearted about it. But yeah, it's incredible. Sometimes you sit there and, oh, it's quite funny. Oh my God. Sometimes they've got to do lots of filming before they come out on the stage. And I thought it was always fun and odd when you're watching X Factor. The panel are just sat there chatting away, and they kind of go, oh, hello. Because you're just sat there chatting away, and da, da, da. No one tells you that they've walked on stage and stood in front of you and just like, oh, hello. It's really funny. Sometimes when someone comes on and then they are absolutely incredible. We had this girl who we gave the award last season for most promising performer, and she was this literally a 9-year-old girl in a nun's outfit going, I don't care if I'm ever rich or famous, I just want to be a star, like that. And she literally belted out the top A at the end and dropped into the splits, and she's like a literally 9-year-old girl who is just incredible. It was electric when she came on. We couldn't believe it. And then there's this wonderful girl called Clara who I think she's going to drama school now up here. I'm not sure. She, every week of her performance were just literally standout performances. And then there's also, you could tell she was a very well rehearsed performer. But then you find people like this lovely girl called Abigail, who got partnered up with this guy who's in a drama school up in Glasgow. Anyway, these two, oh my God, they did this duet of Suddenly Seymour. That was absolutely heartbreaking. Absolutely heartbreaking. They were incredible. And these are two fresh people. Do you know what I mean? They were raw talent who just, sing to Spotify in their room. They do some local thing and they come on stage and they literally blow you away because you just go, wow, you're not a well-rehearsed performer, but that's not the thing. You're just generally telling a story, and the emotion I'm getting off you is incredible. It's just incredible. I'm a big fan of those two. Nathaniel and Abigail, I'm a big advocate for those two.
But it's that raw talent, isn't it? And often when, people are unpolished, it's just beautiful and can just really, really hit you, can't it?
Yeah, no, totally. And it's so heartbreaking and further on when you go through further rounds and you get to know them a bit more.
Yeah.
And then you have to eliminate one person because we do all they don't do the phone-ins there. We do all it ourselves. And so there's quite a lot of pressure for us. We go into a room and scream and shout at each other for half an hour, as in me and the other judges. Then we come out and it's literally sometimes if you watch something, we're floods of tears saying, we really like you, but it's still, we voted you out. It's absolutely heartbreaking.
Well, next time, if we do Panto again next time, Charles, we're definitely doing Suddenly Seymour, the Prince and Dandini.
Seymour. Oh, do you know, it was so funny.
Up an octave.
At the start, you said, oh, you were so professional. But I remember I forgot to enter on stage when I was supposed to hand over the sash to you or something.
Oh,
and
yes.
I was upstairs.
I think you were stuck in the toilet, weren't you?
I was stuck in the toilet. And I hear this, I'm on the loo, and I hear this, I think, I really like this bit. What is it? And I hear it about 10 seconds later, this sound effect, boom, ba ba, and I go, oh, it's me.
It's me. I'm having a shit.
I'm like, run.
Well, it's okay. I had a few extra minutes to do my best contemporary dance, and I think I did a bit of close-up magic or something. But hey, that's showbiz. That's showbiz. Charles, it's so lovely to see you and speak to you. I'm no Laurence Olivier, but I know when I'm on stage with somebody good and who I admire, and from Beauty and the Beast to Panto, I thought that with you. You're a joy to work with. I love your effervescence, your joy for life, and just how much you care about delivering a great performance night after night. It's so admirable, and I just hope you know that you make a lot of people happy through your performances on stage, but also just who you are.
Oh, thank you. That's really kind. I feel a bit emotional. I think it's really kind of you.
It's true. It's true.
Thank you. Well, I try my best. See what happens, really.
And I love the fact you have your allotment. Aside from the allotment, what makes you happy? What is it? A piece of music, or just something? Is it being with Adam, having that morning espresso, or the buzz of getting a job? When do you just think, you know what, I'm a happy sausage here?
Well, talking about sausages is my my husband and my sausage dog. So yeah, about Freddie. He had this accident. He was paralysed. So he couldn't use his back legs forever. It happened during Bedknobs. It was the most horrific experience ever. Thankfully, back to walking now. He hasn't used he's been on a wheelchair for about 2 or 3 years now. I think 2 years, and he's just literally can now walk on all 4 legs, and it's just such a joy. So that brings me such joy. I mean, it's been a real hard, what's it called? A real hard slog. Getting him back to walking again. It's been worse than my dad dying. Seriously, it really genuinely has, because the roller coaster of emotion of, is he going to make it tomorrow? Even yesterday we thought there's something a bit funny when he's walking, so we start panicking about it, and now he's absolutely fine. But he's a really happy dog that walks on 4 legs, and that's another joyous thing. Being with my husband, walking our dog on 4 legs is one of the most happiest things ever. So, and growing my courgettes too.
Charles, you put me in such a good place for the rest of the day. I've got a huge smile on my face. It's been an absolute joy. Thank you for taking us through Matilda, Bedknobs, 101 Dalmatians, and your role on Brillianti Malta as well. We could talk for hours.
Thanks for having me on board. Absolutely, thanks for having me on. So lovely to be so kind. That was so sweet of you. It's so nice. I feel quite emotional.
What I call you're a good egg, and bon earth, that's for sure. Charles Brunton, thank you so much for joining me on Benjy's Cafe podcast.
Ooh.
We could. Thanks for listening to the brilliant Charles Brunton. Benjy's Cafe podcast has just been ranked to number 17 100 Best Men's Podcasts in the UK for 2025. thank you all so much for hopping on the Happy Bus. Je suis très content. Give Benjy's Cafe a follow so every episode gets sent straight to your phone. Tell your friends, tell your family, and if you can, please leave a review. No episode next week, it's my birthday. 50, blimey. So I'll be sitting somewhere quiet, relaxing with a nice coffee. Benjy's Cafe back open 17th of June. More smiles then. I'll get the kettle on. Have a great day.